Okay, switching over the scene. And just make sure that gets swapped in. Okay, sounds good. All right, I'm gonna take us in 3, 2. Wait, fuck. Where's the button? Sorry, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to Style Esports Season 15. We are continuing with our playoffs tonight with Blue Vex versus Mythic Omega. I'm AllOutPotato. Joining with me is Tiger58 today for this one of our matchups for the playoffs.
Definitely an exciting one. Whenever you get into the playoffs, it's excitement all around. And today we've got Blue Vex, Mythic, Omega. We'll see who can prove that they are the better team. I've seen Mythic Omega a few times, so I'm a little bit familiar with them, but Blue Vex is a new team to me, so hopefully they can give us a good matchup here today.
Yep, same here. And as we're getting into draft, we are seeing a couple of fairly unconventional bands coming out. We've got the likes of Heimerdinger and Skarner and Twitch making an appearance. So traditionally not the most frequent sort of bands we tend to see kind of around this amateur competitive level, but certainly could be some pocket picks for some of these players.
Definitely champions that I know that I wouldn't want to deal with if I knew that the other team played them. So definitely fair bans to take away. But with those all off the board, it's now a question of what becomes the meta. Do we default back to the big hyper carry champions, front to back team fighting? Do we get some split pushing going on? I wouldn't be surprised to see Jinx or Xayah here on B1, but we'll see what Blue Vex want to go with.
Yeah, seems like it's a Akali first pick here. And I think another interesting thing is we haven't had as much time, with with these new item changes coming through, kind of this mid-season mini rework to see kind of what the pro teams are doing. So, a lot of times the players are going to kind of try and sort of figure out by themselves what champions are strong currently in the meta, what sorts of picks are going to be dominant. And now we're starting to see some more staples coming in. Milio certainly a support that has shown very strong presence since his release.
Definitely has a good pool of champions that he works well with in the bot lane and is generally useful. I'm a little bit hesitant to have the Leona pick as a response to Melio. I think that it's very dangerous, especially when Tom Kench is here too. Like whoever you stun is just going to get either devoured or cleansed by the Melio ult. So it seems to me like Leona doesn't work very well into Mythic Omega's team composition. But that said, trying to start off the play by getting a pick definitely works a lot of the time with Jinx, and an Akali pickup is definitely going to be an aggressive one as well that wants to get some kills early on. So maybe we'll see Inky Bear with some roams for the Leona.
Yeah, I was a little bit expecting perhaps an ADC pick coming in on R3 here. Kog'Maw, for example, would have been a classic pairing with the Milio, able to pump damage with the protection and the Tom Kench coming out as well. That might have been a good option. I do like the Tom Kench and the Milio in response to Akali, just offering a lot of safety for a potential carry. Even Lissandra able to set up some PO duty if necessary, in addition to initiation. And looking over towards the Blue Vex team comp, we have what seems to be like some kind of like a dive style coming in from Leona Akali, but Jinx generally not the best ADC at following that. So maybe a few different ideas coming out for these teams. But of course, it'll have to be the players themselves showing what they're capable of tonight.
I have to wonder in the back of my head if there's ever a world where you would want to go for like a lethality Jinx and just try to poke to set up some of the assassination that Akali can do. I really think that's unlikely, especially given that the other team already has a tank and Tom Kench. but I've played some of that in like ARAM where you just max W first and go for the full lethality so you can get the most poke, and it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. I'd like to see now a pairing with Melio. Lucian comes to the top of my mind, but I also think Caitlyn's been underplayed, so definitely a champion that could come in, and that is what we see here. So Mythic Omega going to have a very strong early presence in that bot lane.
Yeah, a bit of prophecy coming in here, and Emilio especially effective into Leona as well, as I believe the Q is able to nullify the Leona engage if timed properly. Caitlyn known to be kind of a shover and a lane bully, perhaps a little bit less of a hyper carry here, and we see BlueVex immediately picking up 2 Giga Beefers, so offering a lot more frontline for this Jinx, and that is something I'm potentially a little bit concerned about for Mythic Omega, because Caitlyn not known to be the best ADC at getting through tanks, and Tom Kench, Lissandra certainly aren't going to be doing that much tank busting either. So should BlueVex be able to hang on for a while, if their front line is able to get to a certain point, Omega might find themselves in a bit of trouble trying to tear through them in the mid game.
I like the Mordekaiser Sejuani combination because not only is Mordekaiser good at stacking up Sejuani's E, but also taking the Mordekaiser away prevents Sejuani from being taken advantage of. Of course, there's Trundle as well that can steal away the defensive stats, but Mordekaiser with the Sejuani stats definitely feels like a very difficult champion to take down. So makes sense to pair them together and adds a lot of pick to the team comp for Blue Vex. Now, of course, with the way that they've set their team up, it's a lot focused around Kamikaze's Jinx. Gonna have to see if that's going to be a champion where they can play around in the early game. It's going to be difficult in the lane matchup against Caitlyn Melio for Boo Sykerman and Don't Let Me Sup, but I think that it's a possibility to at least stay even if they get some pressure coming in from Achilles Sejuani. And I don't think that there's going to be a lot of ganking coming out, seeing that Atlas is most likely going to be piloting the Dr. Mundo jungle.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a unique one. And Mundo is, known to be a champion that can scale pretty horrifically well into the later stages of the game. And there's a lot of CC here picked by BlueVex, and Mundo is very apt at ignoring that, perhaps second only to Olaf in that respect. So maybe we'll get a bit of a preview of the Doctor trampling through the backlines as the game progresses. But yeah, until then, we'll have to see how the players will choose to execute on the early game. Coming through the draft, do you feel that one team or the other has gotten an advantage with it?
Well, I do think that the early game should favor Mythic Omega because they should have winning lane in at least bot. I definitely think that Tom Kench has a matchup into Mordekaiser where he can win out on that as well. Although it looks like, based on the way that the lock-ins are happening, that it actually may be Dr. Mundo top and Tom Kench in the jungle. I've heard people talking about how just about any champion can go into the jungle these days, and Tom Kench probably better at ganking than Dr. Mundo, but I'm gonna have to see the clear speed before I'm convinced on it. Uh, I do think that in the long run things look pretty good for Mythic Omega, but Blue Vex can get to the late game scaling, then that might be an opportunity for them to turn the tides. And particularly if Tokano can find good flanks in team fights, I think that's a formula for success for Blue Vex.
Yeah, Tomcat's definitely not a conventional jungler, but you're right. With the addition of the Pokemon this season, it has made it so that almost every champion is at least capable of clearing. But yeah, the speed certainly is not a guarantee. So we'll have to see how that pick ends up working out. We do have the players finishing out their lock-ins here in Champion Select. So as that ends up happening, we'll be here shortly just on the other side of a spectator delay as these picks get locked in. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Stay put, and we'll see you on the other side of Champ Select. Alrighty, and we are back as both teams here coming out for some early level 1 action. Mythic trying to push forward a little bit and establish a bit of presence, but looks like it is going to be spotted out by Blue Vex here, and it seems like everyone will be able to back off safely.
Yeah, gonna be a little poke to proc the spell thieves for Don't Let Me Sup. Definitely gonna be happy with that. And if Tokano can't get back in time, that could be pretty punishing in lane. It looks like Blades is going to be able to interrupt the recall yet again. Teleport Ignite for the Akali, no flash this time around. Going to be trying to find all of the damage and the big flanking plays. Definitely makes sense there. And other than that, notable is that Boo Psycherman has taken Cleanse and Lethal Tempo. So definitely looking towards that later game with both of those, and probably going to get good value out of the Cleanse, even though there's a ton of other peel available on the team. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah, just indexing for some of that extra safety. Also interesting to note is Inky Bear actually going exhaust here on support. So opting for maybe a little bit more of a defensive option, maybe trying to protect the Jinx, or maybe just using it as a bit of a different all-in tool for the bot lane. And Don't Let Me Sup here on Milio also choosing to go Airy instead of Guardian. So trusting that maybe their ADC will survive for just a bit longer. We do have the first engage coming out here from Inky Bear. A lot of damage going on to Don't Let Me Sup, and actually blowing the flash right away. Super Mega Fire Kick was not available, so finding a nice moment there on that level 2 timing.
Definitely worked out well to go in, and I'm a little bit surprised that Kamikaze and Inky Bear were able to get to the level 2 first, but they pushed hard for it and they utilized it well. Don't Let Me Sup will be able to stay in lane, but is forced to burn the flash, so there's definitely gank opportunities for the Achilles, who is now pathing bot.
Yep, so maybe we'll see a crashing wave into a gank by Sejuani if they are able to manage that. Worth noting that there is no heal available in this bot lane, so Milio definitely going to have to be careful about how their positioning is for the next few moments.
For sure, but also want to be making sure to stay proactive in lane, making sure not to allow Incubator to get free engages. And there, as you were talking about before, is the fact that the Q from Melio can cancel the engage from Leona pretty effectively. Nicely done there by Don't Let Me Sup. And a good trade going to allow them to push forward and get a ward in the Tri Brush.
Yeah, great reaction, and the range from Caitlyn along with the Milio passive is going to allow Busarkerman to trade very effectively on every single one of these interrupted engages. And you have enough of those coming out for the Leona, and you're going to be too low to be able to effectively go in. But it looks like we do have Achilles here onto the scuttle. The ward from Mythic is in the tri-bush, but it looks like they might have an idea that this is coming. They're going to back off and just get in their reset for now.
And we talked about the fact that Tom Kench is a little bit awkward in the jungle. We do see it here expressed in the fact that Atlas is about half health and late to the scuttle crab, so is going to get double scuttled here. Should probably just be leaving, might be in trouble for staying around. Probably going to have to burn flash here. Will be able to actually just dash over.
Yeah, the pull from Mordekaiser not quite interrupting. There's a lot of follow flashes to get there onto the chase. Atlas is going to go down from the follow of the Akali Shuriken, and actually the double kill even coming on through Blaze investing the flash, but just a touch late there as the red buff burn from Achilles is going to secure them a 2 for 0.
Nice swing through from the Achilles. I think that there was some expectation from Atlas that the Achilles would be staying around the bot side trying to look to punish the flashless Melio, but instead going through the mid lane and up towards the river was able to set up the first kill and actually take down both as well. Freezy Geek dropping pretty low here.
Ooh, yeah, Tokano just finding an excellent series of trades, just played that perfectly with the way the ability usage was, finding Freezy Geek without having back just, yeah, buying their own amplifying tome there, and gets a free pickup in the mid lane.
I'm very impressed with how Tokano is playing the Akali right now, getting a lot of damage off in both the exchange around topside and in that solo kill mid. Tokano is normally Blue Vex's AD carry, but switching to mid lane this game to allow a couple of subs to come in.
Yeah, we'll have to be a little bit careful there, though, as Freezy Geek now trading very well. Takana had already used the TP to get back into lane after that previous play, and Freezy Geek now level 6, so there's definitely flash all-in potential here, and there it is, right under tower, the Frozen Tomb, so no dashing or hiding away from that one.
Nice reaction there by Freezy Geek to punish Tokano. No summoner spells. Going to be a little bit of an engager on the bot side, but will end up being a worse trade for Inky Bear in the long run. And a gank could be coming from Atlas as well. We'll see if it goes anywhere. Pretty difficult to gank right now, though, because the setup isn't great from Caitlyn Melio. And with all summoners available, Kamikaze and Inky Bear should be just fine.
Yeah, and coming back to the mid lane as well, we do see that while Takano has had great success on that roam as well as that solo kill, is really suffering here in the farm department. Was 20 CS down when Freezy Geek took their reset. So the cost of moving was that XP disadvantage, as well as these minion disadvantages, and that was the cause of their death as well. So we'll see. Most likely, we'll be able to catch up in the next couple of moments as Freezy Geek had to take their own back to come back in the lane, but something to keep an eye on.
Based off of the items in inventory, it looks like Freezy Geek is going towards Everfrost, which is pretty typical for Lissandra and makes a lot of sense. But I would have thought this game might be a good opportunity to actually go for Illudens instead and just try to assassinate the squishies, allow for Man to try to take out all of the tanks, build the more DPS focused items instead of burst. But looks like it's going to be a difficult situation to get the one shots onto the enemy carries.
Yeah, I mean, Ludens does have that one-shot potential, but Everfrost, of course, offering that utility, and maybe even Leandries would have been alright given how much frontline there is on this Blue Vex team. But we see Atlas moving in after a great trade against Kamikaze. Now looking potentially for the dive. Caitlyn does hit level 6. Inky Bear flashes the block, but is going to surely give up their own life in exchange as a result. There's a TP coming in from the mid lane, and it looks like the auto attack is not going to land onto Inky Bear, and now it's Atlas snapping onto the Kamikaze traps. Does get that first lick ongoing, but Raptor does get a great pullback as well. Atlas flashes to try and find the last hit onto Inky Bear, but is not going to be able to. Now taken into Brazil in the Death Realm, as there's just both teams investing every member here into this bot lane play. It is another double kill picked up by Achilles. Teleports coming in all over the map, and wow, a real series of action there as Inky Bear surviving for so long, baiting out so many abilities, really allowing their team to come to assist.
Great response by the rest of the team as well to show up there and actually reward Inky Bear for surviving so long. Probably 15 seconds longer than they should have. But at the end of the day, that means the trade will go 3-for-1 in favor of Blue Vex. They will be taking the first Drake of the game as well. 4-0-0 now for the Achilles, going to be very difficult to kill off, as well as having almost 30 CS advantage. I believe it's 7 camps right now is the lead. Definitely making use of the advantage of being a traditional jungler against a less traditional jungler.
Yeah, but Mythic not without their own compensation as well. Notably, Blaze did not choose to teleport down bottom to that play. As a result, is able to pick up 2 plates and deny about 2 waves from their opposing top laner. And if we look at these solo lane farm numbers, it is evident that it has been Mythic able to pick up much more in terms of CS, even though the kills have been consistently going the way of Bluevex.
Yeah, that was kind of the exchange there, especially in the top jungle area. Actually, going to get a little bit of an engaged bot.
Yeah, Engage coming out from Inky Bear first. Achilles does not quite have the ultimate ready, but will in a few seconds. It was both cleanse and the Milio ulti expended, so no further cleanses coming out. The first reset goes out for Kamikaze. Inky Bear getting very low now, and there goes the Bola onto Don't Let Me Stop. Achilles now unstoppable after the skill shot lands true. Here comes the stun. Kamikaze free firing on the backline. Achilles actually is going to give their life there to the tower. Inky Bear giving perilously low as well, but in the end, it is a 3-for-1 trade. A shutdown does go over to Atlas. They do find all the kills here in the bot lane.
And crucially, Kamikaze able to pick up two of them on the Jinx, finally starting to get some of the gold. As we can see, it's about 1,000 gold deficit in the bot lane. Going to be looking to have the major carry potential of the game. Already first item complete now for the Achilles, who has 5 kills, of course. Doing very well for 11 minutes into the game on the Sejuani, and looking probably to use that to set up more ganks, spread the wealth around to the rest of the team, get the big carries, all of the items they need.
Yeah, this Radiant Virtue is certainly going to be a boon for their team as well. And notably, that bot lane play also pulled Freezy Geek on down. So this time around, it was Tokano with some free time in the mid lane to pick up a plate and some farm as well. But Boostykerman with the great series abilities, once again, trading very well against Kamikaze. There's the Cozy Campfire. Inky Bear misses with the CC, but there's Achilles on the backside. The cleanses are not ready yet. Boostykerman is going to be one hit from going down, does give the kill over to Kamikaze. It is Achilles making things happen here in the early game.
And yet again, punishing in the bot lane, downed summoner spell, this time cleanseless Caitlyn, ultless Melio. That means they can go right back down and get another kill.
Yeah, Alice wants to find a follow play, though. The CC chain starts out well. The Frozen Tomb is available. Will it get used? Does not seem like they have been able to do so. Takano actually opts to go right back into the middle of two people with Frozen Tomb available. So a bit of a misstep there. Was out and safe, but ultimately Mythic is rewarded for that play. 3 members on the bot side will mean that this first tower might just drop straight away from that play. Milio roaming mid to support as well. And here comes the engage onto Boostykerman. Once again, it is Kamikaze taking up the tower, but looks like they don't mind too much as Caitlyn goes down for the 4th time this game, and this tower is still bound to fall.
They're going to try to take the rest of it out here, tanking up a few more tower shots, but they should be able to get the last of it here, expand the gold lead. It's over 3,000 now in favor of Blue Vex. They've done a very good job of navigating this early game, and I think that they're in a position where they should be able to be favored all throughout the mid game as well. It shouldn't be very difficult for them to increase their gold advantage. I think that they've got just so much threat across the map. If you play disrespectfully of them, getting picked is definitely something that could happen here too, Mythic Omega. But if you play respectfully, then they'll just out farm you and take your towers. So it's kind of a difficult situation to navigate.
Yeah, you've really got the gold on the right people here. The Jinx and the Sejuani, 2 characters that can really help accelerate their teams. But seems like Mythic solo laners are unwilling to let this one go. Mundo popping his ultimate to try and run their way out of this situation. We do have the bot lane of Blue Vex rotating mid, potentially looking for a Herald pickup or at least to try and stabilize this mid lane a little bit. Objectives are available on the map. Dragon spawning soon. Herald up for now as well. So we'll have to see what the next steps for both teams are going to be.
That was a pretty big kill for Blades, kind of taking the fangs out of the attack for a little bit there for the side of Blue Vex. And that means that they can't just go immediately towards the Rift Herald. They brought up Inky Bear. They clearly wanted to go for it. And it looks like they probably will right now. But they had to be delayed for a little bit. And that looks like it will cost them the second Drake of the game. So well done there by Mythic Omega, and a good reaction at the end of it as well to know what it was that they gained from getting that solo kill.
Yeah, committing all 5 members here for this Cloud Drake, so is at least going to be able to deny the Dragon stacking for a little bit of time away from the members of Blue Vex. Don't let me support, maybe looking for a bit of an engage here, but doesn't quite find it. Incubator and Achilles there on the side. Here comes a Tom Catch knockup, does land true. Freezy there on the backside, but a nice flash from Kamikaze keeps him safe, and now here comes the turn play. Atlas goes down immediately, a nice 2-man pull from Raptor is going to get everyone here in the chopping block. Freezy goes into the frozen tomb, but the only tomb they're going to go back is straight to their base as Busikerman falls to half HP. Herald is dropped, and that's a very successful fight coming out from Blue Vex, and the mid tower is gonna fall.
And maybe two mid towers as well. This first one, oh, it will take the charge from Herald. A little bit unfortunate there because the Herald did hardly any damage, but Achilles looking to posture towards a dive potentially as well. They will still be able to take this tier 2.
Yeah, Kelly's really feeling themselves with these engages, and that was some excellent defensive play from Kamikaze, a very well-timed flash, and the team all coordinating together to make sure that this Fed Jinx stays safe and secure from all the sources of engages from Mythic. And after that was turned around, it was straight right-click and run them down as we see the map now starting to blow open, and maybe the game a little bit too, as it's a 6,000 gold lead here at 16 minutes.
Feels pretty tough for Mythic Omega to come back, but Blade's still ahead in the top lane. I think that gold wise it's about even, but has those extra levels from just staying around the wave as well. Don't let me gonna try to supplement that by going towards that direction. We'll just be responded to by the Mordekaiser ult, but who's trapped with who here?
Yeah, Blade's certainly not worried about this 1v1 at all. This Milio is not going to be a target for the Mordekaiser, as Mundo is just going to shove some cleaver straight into his backside. Mythic Blades getting the second, not quite solo kill of the game, but finding the better of his top lane opponent nonetheless. But the solo lane leads are just not quite enough given the current game state. I mean, the jungle and AD have really blown this game open so far, so unless they are able to continuously find side lane pressure or maybe use some of these advantages, maybe find a numbers play on the map, it still will be Blue Vex in control for now.
And the fact of the matter is that Blades is going to have to respond to wherever we see Blue Vex putting pressure on the map in the long run, which means that he's going to have to either be in a situation where he can push as fast, like get a hull breaker in addition to all the other items that he might go for. But I don't think that he can take towers fast enough to rival a Jinx with a team. So other than that, you're gonna have to be in a situation where you can get immediate kills at the beginning of plays.
Yeah, here comes the engage flash expended from Incubator even. The ultimate from Achilles is going to miss, as is going to be the Zenith Blade from Incubator, but looks like it does not matter. There's just so much in the tank for all these players. There's one more knockup from onto Blades, but Alice comes in with a nice Devour to keep their top lane safe for the moment. But 3 members invested here onto this top side. They've got the tower in their sights, and Mythic do not have enough to hold this objective.
They'll get a little bit of value out of it with the tower, but a good response there from Mythic. I think that they weren't able to pick up anything cross map anywhere, so not as good as maybe it could have been. But they're behind right now, so just trying to stabilize is the spot they're at.
Yeah, Freezy trying to find a pick onto Totano. The Caitlyn ultimate is going to be invested as well, but this Akali is plenty slippery. Still has the ultimate to get out. There's the shuriken flip, so disengage as easy as you please, and this play is not going to find its conversion just yet.
Akali, very slippery champion, hard to lock down in any situation. That's not going to be enough with just the tag team ultimates. Slips away there. And I think that with the spot that we're at, the next fight around Drake, probably going to be a pretty impactful one if it is challenged here by Mythic, which I imagine they probably should just let it go. But if they were to challenge it, then they would have the opportunity to reduce their gold deficit. But at the same time, it would be an opportunity to make it almost an unbearable gold deficit for the side of Blue Vex.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Mythic is going to try and stop the dragon stacking that Blue Vex is threatening here. As here we go, another engage coming out from Achilles. This Sejuani has been paying dividends this game, and there's the Zenith Blade. Cleanse expended, as is the Gale Force, but it is the members of Mythic fully on the run there. A free pickup onto the support, and you know they're going to turn to the dragon after.
And of course, that's a good pick there, right onto the Melio. So there was no possibility of cleansing any of that since he was stunned as opposed to just being rooted up. That means it's free 2 kills plus Drake, or it was just 1 kill and cleanse. A cleanse is almost as good as a kill though, because it opens up the possibility of later kill onto Boost Hiker Man. But I think that the more concerning thing, if you're a fan of Mythic Omega, is the fact that in the top lane exchange, it looked like Raptor was starting to catch up to Blades. So maybe not such a big disparity there after all.
Yeah, and Blades really was going to have to be the force to try and keep Mythic in the game here. Was 2 levels up against their counterpart there. But yeah, did seem to have a little bit of trouble in that 1v1 earlier. As we do see the members of Blue Vex now starting Baron right on spawn. There's no flash on the Milio, no cleanse on the Caitlyn. All the engaged tools are available. Tom Kench is going to dive on in, but does not have a way out. We'll have to just blow flash to try and get out. But no, not even going to be handed the opportunity to do that as the CC chain lands true. Legendary now for Kamikaze on the Jinx. And wearing purple, they're going to start pushing on their advantage even harder.
Nice flame choppers there to secure the kill, and maybe gonna look to go forward here as well. Gonna try to find another pick on the Don't Let Me Sup. Easy pickings. Inky Bear will lock down the supportal combat kill, and the siege has begun.
Yeah, it's a familiar picture now. Every time you see this Sejuani charging forward, it's going to be an icy prison straight onto whoever they have their sights on. And Inky Bear is ready with the follow-up CC. We've seen it time and time again, and it's mostly been the bot lane of Mythic that's been, unfortunately, on the receiving end of these engages. Now pressuring the mid lane as well as the top lane. I would have liked probably for Achilles to stick around here to supplement the siege, choosing instead for the moment to back off, pick up some jungle camps. So might be that the team is deciding to take a bit of a moment, maybe get a couple buys in before continuing the siege, but would really like to see this Baron pressure used to try and start cracking open the base.
Definitely could get back out into that 1-3-1 here pretty shortly. Tokano trying to hold down the bot lane. The last tier 2 towers are standing in the side lane, so that's why they definitely want to stay out in that 1-3-1. But right now, a pretty decent response coming through from Mythic Omega to just try to clear out the waves while they've got an opportunity. About a minute going to be left here by the time that the side of Blue Vex can get back towards the enemy towers.
And it looks like they are back on the map now. Jinx is now very near to 3 items. Caitlyn, unfortunately, not quite at 2 just yet, but they will have to try and do their best to hold around these mid lane inhib towers if possible. We do have the solo laners of Blue Vex as well, continuing to pressure onto the sides as here goes the engage. It's 4v2. Can they get this Jinx? It looks like yes, they will. Inky Bear next on the target, but we have a double TP coming here in the mid lane. Mordekaiser is in the action, as is Akali, engaging straight onto Busaikerman and Don't Let Me Sup. Both will be falling. Freezy Geek taken down into Brazil as the rest of the team starts working on through Blades' HP. Tower diving through this inhibitor tower. Inky Bear is going to fall down, but they've got kills on their minds as Atlas is going to be the next one turned on. There is a flash, but there is no escape for this Tom Kench, as ultimately it is going to be a 4-4-2. Only Blades left on the map to try and hold, but it's going to be Inhib Tower and Inhib both going down after that fight.
Unfortunately, not much DPS to speak of for the side of Mythic Omega. We see the Gale Force. It was the Kirchi Shard as well as the 1.5 item buy coming through from Bootsiker It looks like there's been a little bit of a turn of heart now as Bootsiker is going towards the LDR, but did go out of the way of that buy, so not going to be doing a lot of damage just yet towards the tanks. Gonna start to be at least a little bit more now that the last whisper is complete, though.
Yeah, it's rough because this front line is just presenting such a wall and is a bit of the issues we mentioned previously where Caitlin's just not able to get through all of these beefy boils. I mean, the fight started about as well as you could have asked for, right? Kamikaze, this really fed Jinx, now on 3 items, was immediately taken off the fight without being able to land any damage in response. Inky Bear was taken low as well, but hold that thought as here comes another team fight. Inky Bear already on half, but confidently engaging into the rest of the team. Atlas is under pressure. Inky Bear might fall, but the rest of Blue Vex continue to want to push forward. Blades and Atlas trying to get towards the backline, but unable to as they're both going to go down soon. Freezy Geek trying to do their best to buy some space for Busaikerman to hit, but now it's Tokano straight into the backline, looking for the assassination onto Caitlyn. The Shuriken lands, and Caitlyn falls. Don't Let Me Sup now walking back to the safety of their own base to try and run away, but Kamikaze flashes straight past the wall to take down the Milio once again, and now it's on to the Nexus Towers as Freezy Geek this time is going to be the one to try and hold this 1v4. No ultimate available. The Nexus Towers are going to fall down, tries to find the engage, but there's simply too much damage, too much tankiness, too much everything on this Blue Vex team as they push forward, take down the Nexus. It's 25 minutes, and it's a domineering win for Blue Vex.
Blue Vex coming out strong here in game number one, particularly the Achilles ruling the early game, starting off 4-0-0, and then passing it off to the rest of the team the rest of the game. 17 assists coming through. That's 22 out of 26 on the kill participation. Well done by the entirety of Blue Vex. They're able to take game number one, and they look like they're going to be a strong force to oppose in game number two as well.
Yeah, most certainly. And yeah, what a statement showing for a first game here from this team. And really, it was Achilles, I think, who was able to make so much happen on the map throughout the early and the mid game and secure that lead for their team.
Well, going into game number two, hopefully we see a better plan from Mythic Omega formulating. They definitely had some strong solo lanes going on in the early stages of the game. Maybe they can look to utilize that to get themselves more advantages going forward.
Yeah, for sure. So bear with us for just a moment as we will have the players getting ready for this second game. We're going to take a bit of a pause as everyone gets prepared. So see ya soon on the other side. All right, everyone. Welcome back to game two between Mythic Omega and Blue Vex. We just saw Blue Vex come in with a very strong performance in the first game off the back of Achilles' Sejuani, and of course, the rest of the team play as well. And it looks like Mythic Omega immediately does not want to see that champion in a repeat game two, going to take it off the table straight off the bat. And Blue Vex says, Emilio also going to be denied.
Definitely makes sense to take away the Sejuani after game number one. I wasn't convinced by Don't Let Me Sup's Emilio play, but definitely a strong champion and very first pickable. So maybe just wanted to get it out of the way for that purpose and try to find a little bit of a different angle that Don't Let Me Sup is going to have to take.
Yeah, and if Bluevex is indexing more on engagey sorts of champions, if that's the kind of play style that they're comfortable with, Emilio Ulti can often be a big denial tool for that. So regardless of its effectiveness in the first game, it can just open up more options in draft for them.
Going to be pretty similar bands otherwise to what we saw in game number one. I think that on the first pick, I'm still a fan of seeing some early ADC picks, but it seemed like these teams didn't want to prioritize them as heavily. So I think that it's pretty wide open what we could look for. Could be a jungle pickup as well. I'd like to see something different than the Tom Kench jungle for Omega. Maybe give Atlas a little bit of a better opportunity at success. While I think that Tom Kench can probably jungle passively, I don't think that he's ever going to like win through jungle, and at the same time picking another champion gives you more opportunity to skirmish, more opportunity to gank. Something early here like an Udyr that can do that well, or an Amumu would make sense. Going to be the Yumi instead, just going for another enchanter in the bot lane.
Yep, and should they go this option, I am hoping to see something with a bit stronger of a carry presence coming out to be paired with the AD. I mean, Caitlyn's certainly a champion that can bully with the range advantage when paired with Emilio, but can struggle to just keep up in pure damage output compared to some of the other options that are available. And yeah, you did mention previously like some of the draft issues, and I think while that was an issue for sure, I think most of it just came around to the team play that was available. I think BlueX did a great job of finding their engage windows, finding a lane to continuously attack with the Sejuani pick, and was able to successfully kind of blow open the game that way. Looks like Blue Vex is going to deny the Zeri from the Zeri Yumi parry and picking up an Ash here. So can certainly work out very well, but I am curious to see how it will be piloted because it could also be very dangerous to try and run this into a hard engager like Leona without any mobility.
Definitely going to be a much spicier bot lane in the early stages of the game. Not that it wasn't last game, there was plenty of fighting to be had down around there, but I think that the matchup between Ash Yumi and Zeri Leona is a lot less clear cut of how it's going to run early game. Ash is usually a pretty big bully, and Zeri wants to scale up typically, but Leona has the drop on Yumi most of the time, so could kind of go either way, and I think that the jungle matchup is going to be pretty important here as well. Though I do like seeing a top lane pick before the bans if you want to save counter pick for mid lane, and then you pick the jungler after the bans. That seems to make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, you have the opportunity to pick away counters too. So, assuming that Mordekaiser is a priority for Blue Vex here, locking it in before it has a chance to get banned away and taking away any potential top lane counters is certainly a strategy here. And I do like, once again, the presence of a very strong front line here for Blue Vex, especially into champions like Kha'Zix. Certainly eliminates some of their assassination options. Now, Ashe will have a bit of a better time, going into these lower mobility kind of hunks of tanks, but at the same time is very vulnerable. Like a stray skill shot from Leona or a stray pull from Mordekaiser could really spell the end for this champion. So a lot of it, I think, will be down to finesse and execution here for Mythic Omega.
Looking into the later stages of the draft, I think that we will get a jungle pick here, but one champion that comes to mind with this type of setup is a potential Silas for Mythic Omega if Freezy Geek plays him. I think that he's a good response to seeing Leona and Mordekaiser. Definitely going to have a lot of high value ultimates. And there's another high value ultimate to add to the pool. It's Skarner in the jungle.
Yep, and this was a pick that was banned away by Omega in the previous game. So we will get a chance to see what this Scorpion is able to do this time around. Ornn going to be the response for Omega, so providing a bit more of frontline and utility for their team, and as well as matching up decently well into the Mordekaiser.
Gonna just be looking to scale there, trying to avoid anything going on in the lane. And I do think that Ornn can prevent Mordekaiser's ultimate from going through by pressing W. I'm not sure how quick of reaction time you have to actually stop that from happening, but that is out there as a possibility. Makes it a little bit more difficult for Mordekaiser to find a good angle at the very least, but we will see the Veigar as the blind and a classic counter pick of Veigar, though not one that we see often in competitive play. It's going to be Katarina for Tokano playing yet another assassin in the mid lane.
Yep, and this is certainly can be a very difficult matchup for Vigar, able to just skip right past the cages. And seems like here for this game too, Omega indexing a little bit more into CC compared to the previous game. We have sort of hybrid utility carries coming out for both the bot lane and the mid laner here. I'm once again potentially a little bit concerned at how they might try and get through the front line of Blue Vex. I think they might have the same sort of difficulty as they did in the previous game when it comes around to sort of like mid game and late game fights. But on the other side, they do have some tools to make plays around. I mean, Zeri here, I think, can run into a situation where the short range is a little bit problematic trying to navigate around Ash Arrows and Vigar cages and all of those things. So we'll have to see how the players end up playing it out.
Yep, I think that should be a pretty good matchup. I'm really looking forward to the mid jungle matchup, the 2v2. I think that we can look to see Blue Vex trying to get an early advantage in that area, use it to set up some invades, some potential roaming as well from the Tokano Katarina. Maybe try to go towards one of the side lanes in addition to trying to go into the enemy jungle. But I definitely think they'll want to get aggressive before the level 6s hit. Once those level 6s come through, then you have a lot of long range potential pick coming through from Omega. They're going to want to bring out that Ashe ultimate, the Ornn ultimate, and then have those all set up to an assassination for Atlas Kha'Zix.
Yeah, a lot of my eyes here will be on how these carries on both teams will be able to navigate these team fights. I'm also hoping to see something like a early Mikhails maybe coming out for the Yumi, given the absolute wealth of CC there is on Blue Vex against the Skarner suppression and all the things that Leona can bring in as well.
I'm trying to remember exactly what the situation is, but I think that the way it works is that Mikhails isn't able to cleanse the suppression. I would have to double check on that, but if that's the case, then it doesn't do a lot of value against Skarner, though it does stop Leona's stun from coming through, so that's a pretty big value in and of itself. Maybe we'll see a lot of cleanses coming out this game, or a QSS as well, for some of these big carries on the side of Mythic Omega. But I think that it's going to come down to execution for Mythic Omega if they're going to want to be able to continue in this series. They're going to have to survive the early game, which was a difficulty for them in the last game. And I definitely think Achilles on the Skarner is going to have an opportunity to make it a very hard time for them once again in the early stages of game number 2.
Yep, kind of following the same pattern of being an engaged playmaker here in the second game. So we'll see if Omega will be able to make the proper adjustments to take us to a game 3. And as these players on both teams are locking in their picks, we'll be right back just after the other side of a short spectator delay. So stick with us and see you soon. Hello and welcome back to Game 2 between Mythic Omega and Blue Vex here in the Star Esports playoffs. We saw Blue Vex come around with a very strong Game 1 showing, and Mythic is here in Game 2 wanting to tie it up, starting with an early invade into the Blue Vex jungle.
Yep, we're gonna look to find some early advantages. Weren't able to find success with that play last time around, but not to be dissuaded clearly. And they're gonna end up spotting someone out on the return. Raptor maybe gonna look to find a kill here with Atlas and Blades walking back through. We'll see if they know what's up.
Yeah, it's going to be an early 2v2 scuffle out here, but Skarner level 1, not the strongest, and Kha'Zix does have that isolation damage, so does look like Blue Vex are going to decide to back out there. Skarner will be a little bit late for their buff, but maybe actually deciding to revisit. The blue buff here is warded, so we might be seeing a smite fight, or maybe Achilles going for a cheeky fight against Atlas, and we do have Raptor collapsing as well. Atlas is able to secure the buff, does flash on out. Achilles has the follow flash, but is at a level 2 versus level 1 disadvantage here.
God's
Atlas is
fire.
finding, just needs one more hit, but Blue Vex, their members are rotating faster. Mythic just did not have the support of their solo laners there, and Freezy Geek one auto away from taking down Achilles, but not able to find it. And that's the power of numbers. Seems like Mythic Omega just needed a little bit more support there from the rest of their team.
I can see why Atlas would have thought he would have won that play, but now we see a play bot lane as well.
Yeah, a lot of summoner spells expended. Is Incubator taking a one tower shot, but aggressing with that level 2 advantage, just like we saw in the previous game. This time around, no kills, only the exhaust use from the Yuumi, whereas both sums were expended for Leona.
That ends up actually being a healthy trade of summoner spells in favor of Mythic Omega. They're gonna hopefully be able to recover from the health bar damage done quickly, and maybe even set up for a gank as they've got a control ward in the Tri Brush, a little bit of a roam up to help out the Achilles, who is still level 1, was able to help out with the kill, but hadn't taken any camps yet, so getting a little bit of a leash there from Inky Bear to help out with that.
Yeah, Incubator would lose a lot of experience going for that, and now is maybe caught out a little bit. There is no flash, so Atlas gets his revenge here on the bot side, able to path down after 3 camping, and picks up that support fairly early on.
Definitely an advantageous play there for Mythic, getting a kill in the bot lane, and all around pretty much even. Going to be the difference between having a strong early Katarina with a Sheen on the first recall versus having a Kha'Zix that already has the first kill on the board. Both sides getting the kills where they want them, and Kamikaze are going to be backed off now, pretty low on mana in addition to the health bar. Gonna have to find a reset here. And the fact that Ashe is strong early seems to have come through the fact that Inky Bear was able to go aggressive at level 2.
Yeah, and Ash showing some of the laning power there, especially paired in a 2v1 situation with the support. I don't love that reset because here, Blue Vex just have the option to perma-freeze this spot wave, and Zeri can kind of get a reset on her own terms whenever she wants. So it's going to lose at least a full wave to that decision, but not the most catastrophic of events at least. And here we go, Achilles on a gank here on the top lane. Blades did have the advantage going in there against Raptor in the beginning, but the gank is going to turn that right around, force the flash away to preserve their life.
Yeah, Blade's gonna have to play this out a little more carefully from this point. Still gonna have good opportunities to trade, but Raptor with the flash advantage could look for the solo kill on the reset. Looks like both sides playing respectfully as we get a roam towards bot side from Tokano on a control ward.
Yep, Tokano already collapsing very early on. It is the ghost pot from Busaikerman. Kamikaze does have the ghost as well to the flash as well to run away. Sorry, the Yuumi Q is going to barely miss, but Busaikerman does get it with the last auto. The Zenith Blade is not quite going to land from Inky Bear. Tokano picks up that dagger, but no more chase to be had. A 1v1 trade in a 2v3 situation is going to favor Mythic Omega.
Yeah, they will have the wave crashed on them, which is not exactly optimal, but it won't be an entire 2 waves lost because Busaikerman on the short spawn timer should be able to get back out, and the cannon job or the cannon minions doing a nice job of holding the wave for them just in time. Busaikerman will be able to get back. Tokano 2-0-0 now on the Katarina, still getting massive value out of getting some of these early kills, but gonna be forced to have a little bit of a lane swap for just a moment there around the first Drake. As the way that it worked out was that Tokano needed to take all of that bot wave. So well done there, and still pretty even overall.
Yeah, a very slow crash on a cannon wave will mean that Busaikerman loses the minimal resources there to the tower. Unfortunately, Freezing Geek was not able to trade away a plate there in the mid lane in response to that very long roam timer, but it looks like now there's some preparation around the dragon, neither team committing to it just yet. So fairly even game state after all is considered here. Definitely improvement from game one for the Mythic squad.
And it looks like we're going to be seeing a Katarina build that is more resembling the on hit variety than the full AP burst variety. So, should be pretty helpful in doing damage to all of the enemy targets. I think it's going to be Divine Sunder most likely, and then potentially Blade of the Ruined King second, which is a pretty massive 2 item power spike.
Yeah, most certainly. And just offering a lot more survivability and a good amount of mobility as well. Achilles was looking for a gank there onto the bot side, but was spotted out by the pink and forced away by the match from Atlas. But now it's a 4-man movement, but there is no summoner still for Busaikerman. And here comes the engage on both sides of the map. Top laners fighting, as are the bot laners. Busaikerman goes down early, and now it's a 4v1 under tower. Flash expended, but both kills are going to be picked up. And it's a win for Blue Vex across the map, as on the top side Raptor also finds a solo onto Blades, and now that means they're going to be able to pick up their first dragon.
Everything turning up. Blue Vex right now going to be able to take the lead here in this game. 1.5k gold. I believe Raptor was able to response ultimate to avoid the recast coming through on the Call of the Forge God. We will see the cross map play coming around. Atlas going to pick up the Rift Herald here, it looks like, and that's an opportunity to get back a little bit of the gold there, but I think that both sides probably going to be pretty happy with trading those objectives. Just a matter of who can use them better.
Yeah, certainly. And this Ornn v Mordekaiser matchup is a bit of a game of chicken. It's generally whoever ults first loses, as of course Mordekaiser can interrupt the R2 cast from Blades, but if Morty ultis first, then Ornn is almost guaranteed to hit here. Now we see a 3v1 move here towards the top side. Atlas still just level 5, and Tokano is hot on his heels in response here. So probably no kill to be found. It's soon going to be a 3v3 here. It is Rift Herald drop down, trying to find the crash on the tower. The event horizon from Vigar very narrowly missing against Tokano there. That could have spelled disaster for sure. But Achilles is there on the backside. Ultimate
Auto
is
very
available
low.
for this Skarner, but it looks like everyone is going to end up backing off.
I think they wanted to look for that play, but Tokano dropped to about a quarter HP. Freezy trying to find the flash ulti, but won't be able to connect it in time. That means that it's just flash burn for nothing. Unfortunate there for the mid laner of Mythic Omega, but sometimes that's how it happens. Gotta have the timing right on it to get that play off. Inky Bear now could be in a little bit of trouble. Looks like it won't be the case just yet. I was thinking that we might just see the Ashe ulti popped, but not getting that aggressive this early on. And meanwhile, we've got another play in the top lane.
Yeah, it's a 2v1. No unstoppable used available to this Ornn, as it was used early, and Mythic Blades has nowhere to run here. Is going to just have to go down. And here comes the power of the Zeri level 6. But the Yuumi healing in response is no joke either, as Kamikaze and Busaikerman are going to be trading heavily. Blade still trying to find a way out here, but the only way out is straight back to Fountain. Going to get smited for good measure there by Achilles, as this Skarner is starting to establish presence across the map.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot of time burned from Achilles and Raptor, but also by burning all of that time trying to evade the kill, Blades kind of burned some of his own time as well, which means less levels from the minions, less time to try to get the wave state set up for a potential counter gank later on, and still ends up dying, giving overall of the golden experience from it. So, uh, I mean, it's a decision. It's kind of a coin flip about whether it was good or bad to stall out for so long there. But at the end of the day, it does mean that Raptor and the Achilles are going to be in a better spot as they were able to secure the kill.
Yep, and on the plus side, they were able to at least take 3 plates here on the top side with the help of the Herald for Mythic. But Raptor are still doing perfectly fine by themselves, able to take 2 plates solo in response, and is now 2 levels up. Just now, actually, Blade's catching up to level 8 here, so reducing the level lead to 1 level. But still, a nice lead for Raptor in the top lane, despite the pressure that Mythic has been trying to exert.
Blade of the Ruin King, now the only item in inventory for Boo Psychoman, trying to desperately hold on to some early game kill threat. Trinity Force now for Kamikaze as well, trying to finish out that cull and start stacking up. But the CS advantage as well going in favor of Kamikaze means that we're in a position where likely on all sides of the map things are going favorably for the side of Blue Vex.
Yeah, the only downside is that you do have a bit of a CS gap in the mid lane, but Katarina will happily take those 3 kills in response. And now with Dragon coming up in a minute, it looks like Blue Vex do want to find another roam potentially towards this bot lane. We could see Busaikerman and crew caught in a 3v4 as here we go. Achilles wants to find that suppression target. It is going to be ultimate expended right away from Takano. This Kha'Zix getting kidnapped by the Skarner, but is able to just flash on away. The Leona ult does not find any stuns, and now Kamikaze is very low. Teleport coming in here, assuming from Freezy Geek, and the chase begins. Inky Bear is going to be the first target, locked on down by Atlas. The arrow lands straight onto Achilles there on the Skarner. There's the Primordial Burst, does find it onto the back of the Scorpion. A nice 2 kills found in exchange for a bit of an overzealous dive, and it is going to be Mythic Omega fighting back.
No one on Blue Vex there wanted to be willing to sacrifice themselves to get some further kills. All the health bars were down around 30%, and everyone kind of just got cold feet and wanted to run away, which kind of meant that they were allowing the side of Mythic Omega to just chase them down. And chasing is what Ash is good at, especially with Blade of the Ruin King complete, so wasn't able to work out in their favor. And I think that's going to give a good avenue back into the mid game here for Mythic Omega.
Yeah, and I think overall the execution was just a little bit scuffed. I mean, we saw the play starting with Tokano's ultimate there, but that's more of an ability, hopefully, once the team members are already locked down. Achilles invested his ultimate in kidnapping Atlas, but Inky Bear was not able to follow up on their jungler this time around. The ulti and the stun not finding their way to the Kha'Zix, so Kha'Zix was just free to flash away, and Busaikerman the whole time was just free hitting. So yeah, was able to find a nice response play there. Did invest the TP for it, but you get a couple kills, you pick up the dragon, you'll take that any day of the week.
Yep, gonna be looking at a potential turn though on the bot lane.
Yeah, we said earlier that the engage was not decisive enough, but this time around, certainly it is, as now we have just a lone Yuumi under tower. Inky Bear is going to get things started once again. Got a great flash play to start things off, and a really nice decisive TP move there in the bot lane to find up 2 pickups. And now Achilles is going to find himself facing down against Blades. Atlas and crew is going to be coming down straight on the backside. Is Atlas getting kidnapped, but Blades is going to just hammer in with the Ornn, taking down that Scorpion. A nice event horizon is awaiting Raptor right as he comes out from the Death Realm. Actually finds a trade onto Atlas. That Mordekaiser Q is nowhere short of damage, but they do find 2 kills on the top side for the price of 1.
Definitely a good trade overall for Blue Vex. They're able to get 3 kills for 2 and a tower. They're going to try to come out and contest the Rift Herald as well. They may be able to get there in time. Going to try to defend the top tier 1. I don't think they'll be in time for that one, but maybe they'll be able to chase Blades on his attempt at disengaging. Going to be another kill for Tokano here, it looks like. And the Rift Herald secured by Kamikaze. So things going well all around for Blue Vex.
Yeah, Blade's given their life for the tower. It's gonna maybe be all chatting worth after that one, but Kamikaze does find the last auto snipe into the back of the Rift Herald. Freezy Geek, unfortunately, not quite able to secure that one. So second Herald is going to go over to Blue Vex. Inky Bear may be looking for some action here in the jungle, maybe wanting to catch out Freezy Geek. Freezy Geek, I think, actually could have maybe dropped down some CC there and gotten the catch out onto Leona, but map is a bit dark, didn't quite want to go for it. Rift Herald gets the charge down mid. That's going to be mid tower going down. Atlas getting caught out a little bit in his own jungle there, but just takes a bit of a hop and a skip out to safety. And now we've got several members collapsing onto Kamikaze. Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes wide, and Kamikaze starts firing back, just glides on over the wall, is out safe and nice.
Nicely done there in the mid lane with the Rift Herald, another tower secured. And playing aggressively here is Inky Bear in the enemy jungle. But seems like it's not a very punishable offense, because when you're Leona, you just press W and then you don't take damage. So kind of free to roam about, try to find some plays. Was able to tag Atlas with the CC, but not able to secure the kill. Still, getting aggressive here is a good strategy when you are a team with the lead, trying to push on towards an advancement, trying to get more gold, trying to get more kills, trying to get more pressure on the map. And it seems like that has been a successful venture here for Blue Vex.
Yeah, and now we see all the members of Blue Vex's backing in sync here for the dragon coming up in a minute. It is Hex Tech Soul, one of the best ones available in the game, and you know that they're going to try and secure this objective if possible. They've got their buys in, they've got the Scuttle Crab taken down, they've got Vision already set up a little bit on this side of the map, so we might be seeing one of the defining team fights for the game coming up very soon, but for now, it is Blue Vex setting up very well in advance.
It's very difficult for Mythic Omega to contest a Drake, because it's not a 50-50 if the Drake gets low. Mordekaiser just takes Kha'Zix to Brazil and says, all right, we smite the dragon now. Unless they can kill off the Achilles, I think that they would just end up losing the Drake anyways. Or if they were able to get their picks early on in the fight, that could be a useful play. But instead, they're going to try to cross map here. Freezy Geek going to try to take a tower. Tokano will show up for the counter.
Yeah, one-man cross map will be much less effective than they desire, and this does mean that Katarina gets some free time. Walks straight into the Event Horizon, burns the flash from Freezy Geek, but the chase is very good. This AD Katarina is able to just shumpo all around, unstoppable now here, and gets the dragon as well for the trouble. So would have liked to maybe potentially see a harder commit there on the top side if they wanted to get that inner 600 gold in exchange for the dragon. Would have been some decent compensation, but unfortunately just does not put enough numbers there on the top side. We also see some interesting itemization choices coming out from both of these ADCs. It seems like Ashe has had quite enough of being CC'd, picking up both the Merc Treads and the QSS as Atlas is forced to run out of their own jungle. Whereas Zeri here with the chasing in mind, actually going for Boots of Swiftness. But here we go. We've got TP coming on in. Achilles trying to find Atlas there on the top side. Kamikaze is going to be able to pick that kill up really nicely. TP coming in on the mid side as well from Raptor. But here comes the call of the God, Orhorn, actually, as Blue Cyclerman able to fire straight into the back of Raptor. Raptor actually forced a flash on away as the chasing potential of the Ashe is in full power. Now, Zeri, without an ultimate, is much less effective than you would have liked. So, Ashe, even a full item down, is able to put out significant amounts of damage and ward off 4 members of Blue Vex from their push.
And nice job there by Mythic turning things around in the mid lane. It does end up being a 1-for-1, so not going to be a ton of gold back their way, as they just were able to kill off the Scorpion. No shutdowns to be had there, but turret going to go their way. Tokano once again looking to punish Freezy Geek for trying to take a tower in a solo lane. Event Horizon's already down. Looks pretty doomed.
Yeah, there's no escape here, but hey, at least this time around, the tower is successfully acquired. The ultimate is going to take Takano to about half HP, so, getting there in damage. And we did see earlier in that bot lane play the potential that Ashe can have against these frontliners, really finding a lot of damage here. I would have potentially just liked to have seen the Berserker Greaves come out to offer a bit more damage here. The QSS is going to be plenty of safely, hopefully, but looks like now Blue Vex just going to turn right onto the Baron. They have a lot of vision here in the area. We do have Freezy Geek down, not available to come in. No teleport is active either, and it looks like Mythic Omega doesn't quite have an idea that this is happening. Hawkshot is available to check, but doesn't get expended here as Baron falls down to 4k. Now they will know, but it's unfortunately just too late to move on in. A nice find from Blue Vex, decisive action on the map to get the Baron.
Very similar to how they did it last game, and very similar in result as well. They're going to look to use this Baron to push in. Should be able to pick up the tier 2 mid pretty easily, but we'll see if they want to get out into the 1-3-1 again. Tokano definitely did a good job holding down the side lanes as an Akali. Maybe going to look to do the same here, but I also think that they kind of want to play in the shadows as a team. Blue Vex want to find picks and then use numbers advantages to push their advantage towards towers. So I think that it's going to be difficult for them to get aggressive until they're able to choke out the vision around the jungles, make sure that they are threatening in all areas. They almost take out the mid tier 2 with just the AD carry and support, but not quite able to do so. Now threatening in all three lanes at the same time, they've done a great job of syncing up the waves.
Yeah, mid inner is going to fall here. I'm actually hoping to maybe see them play on 2 lanes here, as Vigar is able to pretty well hold any individual lane by himself. Atlas trying to find a bit of a trade back onto Tokano, but Tokano's just going to start spinning around and making sure that bug doesn't come in too close to kill threat. Yeah, so we do have the Vigar wave clear able to kind of hold any individual lane here, so if they play on 2 lanes, might be a little bit easier than on 3. Tokano getting down very low, and actually Atlas does find the solo kill onto the Katarina. That's a big shutdown and a lot of money going on over, but the rest of Blue Vex is there, ready to support on the backside. Now we got Mordekaiser pushing in the mid lane, the other 3 members here pushing against the bot lane. Busaikerman is going to zone away a couple of members, make sure that they don't walk in too closely, and it looks like the rest of Blue Vex is going to back off with their mid laner off the map.
1 minute left on the Baron. They can use it to try to set up the next Drake coming up in 30 seconds. I think they're just going to run straight on out to it without clearing any further waves. They could go and push the bot lane a little bit further forward, but just preparing for any sort of fight that might come their way here. 4.5k gold lead. Definitely feeling pretty secure about the spot that they're in the game. Getting close to those big 3-item power spikes on the carries. It actually was Kraken Slayer second here for Tokano, so trying to focus a little bit more on doing DPS to the front line, which essentially just means Ornn in this case. But Atlas going to try to hop on over at the right timing. We'll see if he can get it done. Not going to be able to steal and just go straight into the Shadow Realm, surely to die.
Yeah, respectable attempt there for Soul Point, but unfortunately will not land it. It is the members of Blue Vex defending very well against that play, and now they do have a 45 available on the map as well. The lead not as absolute as in the first game, but nonetheless, it does still feel like Blue Vex has had control of this game from start to finish. Inky Bear getting a little bit low against the Vigar and actually getting caught against the cage as well. Gonna get stunned up there, but the Ornn ulti comes out. There's enough tenacity from this Leona to just walk on away, so will not get caught out on the backside of that CC, and instead is actually going to be the one engaging on through is the QSS burn from Busaikerman, so will not have that against a potential Skarner or Mordekaiser play coming in later on. Skarner does have Flash R available as well for any fight to get on started. The top laners are going to be in a bit of a scuffle here, and we got Achilles already coming in, and that's where the Skarner ultimate is going to go right on to Blades there. Alice going to get exhausted on the backside there. It is going to be Leona falling, but it is the Ornn traded in response, and now it's 4 members sieging in against this bot tower. But Vigar, the wave clear, the zoning is going to keep that from going on down.
And definitely not a winning fight anymore for Blue Vex. A lot of their ultimates on cooldown. They pretty much need Tokano to 1v4 in order to win that type of an engagement. So I think they're wise to back it off. Once again, a 1-for-1 exchange. Not pushing the lead forward particularly, but trying to continue getting chip damage onto the towers. The mid lane tier 3 is probably their next best target. They've got a minute and a half until Baron. They can look to take the second Baron of the game as well. And taking a quick peek at the items, I think that we're right where we would expect to be. Kamikaze, now 3 items, has the Titanic Hydra complete. That's going to get a lot of value in some of the team fights. This is a very traditional Zeri 3 item power spike. The Trinity Force is back, so that means that it is an eligible item for Zeri. Not that it was like removed before, but now we got to pick.
Yep, it's the CC chain going straight onto Atlas here, and that's a target that they will want to be finding. It is Freezy going down to Zoni as the ultimate expended from Kamikaze, but there's Takano spinning on the front line, but a nice Vigar sequence of abilities is going to just take down the mid lane, or even Raptor force a flash on away. Zeri ultimate is expired now, so the chase is on. Busaikerman starting to run people down. The Mordekaiser pull is not going to hit the Ashe, and now Inky Bear is going to be the next target. This could be a big turnaround. Flash going in from Atlas, aggressing very hard. Inky Bear does fall. Blades trying to find maybe Raptor on the backside, does not get any kind of Ornn stun. This Baron coming up in 21 seconds. I've got to think this might be where Mythic Omega looks to turn the game around.
Definitely feeling good off the back of that team fight. And while all of the setup is good from all of the carries, and I think that the major player here is just the fact that having a Yuumi in the pocket means that Blue Cyclerman feels pretty much invincible, very difficult to take out. And we saw right at the beginning of that play that Kamikaze wanted to go straight in onto the AD carry of Mythic Omega, but really couldn't do a whole lot because he just got shut down right from front to back. And all of the healing coming through from Don't Let Me Sup was a big part of making it easier to continue the fight, because if you have your ADC low on health, even if you did get that first kill of the play, then maybe you feel like you have to back it off. It was a good retreat to only give up 2 kills for the side of Blue Vex, but at the end of the day, they're not winning the team fights quite so convincingly anymore.
Yeah, and we will have to see better coordination from Blue Vex in order to take these, and this might be one of those moments as they're bringing 4 people here onto the boss side to attack Busaikerman. Don't let me stop. And here we go, Kamikaze sliding on over. It is going to be the flash burn, but that's simply not enough. Here it goes. Ashe is going to fall. Yuumi is going to be right after, and yeah, that's the kind of play that we were looking for all game before. And we did see, kind of up to that point, there were a few fights where Mythic was able to kind of start turning things around. If we look at like what's individually available for these teams, we can start to kind of see why. I mean, Vigar is providing so much value with the burst potential and the cage zoning, and when we have members going in one at a time, it's going to be Yuumi offering defensive options. It's going to be Ashe with the CC available, Vigar with the pick potential available. We have Skarner that's not very tanky for this kind of Triforce build, but now it seems like it's gonna all go Blue Vex's way, as this time around it's Mythic Omega kind of funneling in one character at a time. Atlas jumps into his doom, taken down by Raptor. There was a great 4-man play on the bot side, and now it's gonna be Dragon Soul picked up, and things are gonna start looking a little more glum.
Almost impossible to respond to this. There is no fight to be had, and the soul will go over. No jungler to even attempt to steal with. Inky Bear warding off any other potential combatants. And Atlas still down for another 10 seconds means that they feel confident to try to swing it straight into a Baron. They will be moving that way now. It is seen on the ward in the river that this is going on, so it will be responded to. Mythic going to try to challenge here. This is for the series.
Yeah, it looks like they want to contest, but all the ultimates are available with the exception of the Mordekaiser ult. So we'll see how it goes. The Leona ulti is going to miss, and Incubator is going to take very low in the beginning. Zenith Blade misses, and now Kamikaze is going to be under threat. Does get hit by the Ash Arrow, but Achilles flashes in and does suppress Freezy, but the rest of the team can't follow up quite well. Actually does go down to the Mordekaiser, but Buseikerman is still free firing on the backside. Kamikaze now dominating. Buseikerman, unfortunately, not able to take down Achilles. The gold lead just a little bit too much, but it was a very valiant effort. The team fight was looking quite close there for just a moment, but it is Blue Vex finding the ace, getting the Baron, now barreling down mid lane.
You don't mess with the Skarner on the Spire. Achilles able to chase down Man because of that extra speed, because of having that moon plate as well. 2-item complete. That's enough to find the key kill, able to finish off the game and the series. And what a performance here today from Blue Vex, going 2-0 over Mythic Omega.
Yep, a few small moments of stumbling blocks there around the inside of game two, but ultimately they were able to close it out, finding great map plays throughout both games, really decisive engages, nicely navigated team fights, and a well-deserved 2-0 victory.
Well, I think that for Mythic Omega, they'll be disappointed with this result. I think they put up a good fight, but definitely don't want to get slammed in a 2-0 fashion. Big advantages coming through in the early to mid game both times around from Blue Vex. And while there were some promising team fights there near the end for Mythic Omega, they never really felt like they had any control in this series. So some things to improve on going forward, to be sure. But I think that for today's purposes, both teams should be proud of putting their efforts out there, and hopefully we'll be seeing more from them in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much to everyone for joining us tonight. That's going to be all the games that we've got for you. Hope you all had a good time, and hopefully we'll catch you next time on Style Esports.